yoga friends that have arrived at 7 p.m. on time, welcome. And hopefully a few more will drop in along the way. But we can begin by dropping into our own bodies while we're here right now. Take a comfortable seat on your mat, comfortably cross-legged. Sukhasana, easy seated pose is what we're taking. Orienting our bodies well in this easy seated pose. So vertically aligning the spine, ground to sky, sitting up tall. If shoulders feel as if they're rounding, let's lift up the shoulders, roll them back, and let shoulders and arms fall along our sides, shoulder blades slip down the back, and our chest rises just a little bit higher. More expansion across the chest and shoulders. Now that we've created this tall, good postured position, let's breathe together. Notice the qualities of your breath. When you inhale, you lengthen, sit a little taller. You can check in with that vertical line, see how you might be falling away from it. And as you exhale, let your body just melt down that vertical line, melting into good posture, meeting it with every breath. And now that we've discovered vertical, ground to sky, right? Ground to sky, start to circle your spine forward, to the side, a little bit of lean back, again to the side. Hitting all of those spots as you take that circling motion. We're still breathing and moving smoothly. Let's change directions. Notice where you're holding on to your tension, and with your breaths, you have an opportunity to just unravel a little of that tension. You'll see as we continue to practice. Coming back to center, and now we'll switch positions, coming to hands and knees pose. Taking this new position, we balance on our handprints, lengthen through our spine, tail to crown. And we start to draw a curling action through cat pose. And the curve dips the other direction to take your cow pose. And these two poses, cat and cow, work so nicely together to get your spine moving and stretching. And just checking in from your tail, from the tip of your bottom to the crown top of your head. That your hips, your pelvis is shifting, your segments of spine are moving. Chest and shoulders are expanding. And your head is also moving, right? The head and neck are moving. The entirety of the spine. One more time, let's take a cat and cow, please. Now let's ease back. Our back end eases back to the heels, extending arms forward, resting on our forehead, child's pose, Balasana. Fill in a few deep breaths here in child's pose. And the breaths are filling in all space that surrounds your spine, 360 degrees of your body. One more long, deep breath in child's pose. And then we rise back into tabletop, where we started here on hands and knees. And we'll play around with spinal balance. And you're lifting opposites. Right arm lifting upward and forward, left leg upward and backward, and level your body, balance your body, zip the belly, and breathe. And right hand and left knee to mat. Lift your left arm and right leg, level, zip the belly, lengthen your body, toes to fingers. And now we can start to add our breath work to this. So we inhale, lift and lengthen, right arm, left leg. Exhale to ground, hand and knee down. Inhaling, lifting and lengthening. Remember, opposites rise on the inhale. Exhale, we touch back down to the ground. Finding your flow, moving with your breath. No need to rush. Let the breath fill to the top of the inhale. Empty your exhales. We have breath control, and we've initiated body control. All right, hands and knees. Pose again, tabletop. Child's pose. Bottom back over the heels, forehead resting, spine lengthening. Checking in with your breath, deeply breathing. One more long, deep breath, please. And then you rise back to tabletop and downward dog pose. 10 toes curl under, tail lifting. We're creating an inverted V shape in our body. Knees slightly bent. Breathing into 360 degrees of our belly, ribs, and chest. Feel free to shift around in your footprints, right? Maybe to tiptoes, and then heels softly lower to the ground. And you can feel those awesome stretches through your feet, through the back of the calves. But there's control in that foot action. And knees to the ground again, tabletop pose. Please, one more child's pose. Lengthen spine. It's gentle, but it's still active. Spine lengthening, arms stretch, but not overstretched. Balanced on center of forehead. Giving yourself a few breaths in child's pose to discover a sense of balance and deep breathing. And when those two things come together, the balance and the deep breathing, you feel steady with ease within the asana that you're practicing. And child's pose is a wonderful place to come for that sense of ease when you need it. Now back to hands and knees pose, tabletop. From here, extend your legs, right? I'll go sideways for you. Plank pose. So you're pushing the ground down to hold yourself up. It's arm balance and body balance. Lengthening, zipping the belly. We worked on that action in our spinal balance flow. Two more deep breaths in your plank, friends. And our knees come back down to the ground. And new position, let's have a seat. Let's right leg forward, left leg angle. Vertically tall, sitting vertically tall. Folding forward gently, hamstring stretch, right? We talked about when we work in the garden, pulling weeds, your back and your hamstrings can get sore. So checking in that the spine, right? Lower back, mid back, upper back, those spaces feel good as you flex forward, right? We have breath control and body control happening. And as we breathe deeply, we initiate those deep breaths within us, 360-degree breaths. We start to feel the pose maybe blooming a little bit more. Right, we'll sit up and change sides. Right leg comes into the angle, externally rotated right leg. Left leg extends forward, sitting tall, establishing your base, right? Resituating your base here as you fold forward. And making sure that your lower back, your mid back, and the upper back feel good as you flex forward. There's a sense of alignment as you lean in. And when we have that sense of alignment, our breath has a more clear path to follow. We'll sit up, coming into bent leg position, sitting, bent legs in front of us. You can hold on to your legs to situate your base again, balancing on your sit bones. Sitting up nice and tall. When you lift your feet up, you're going to balance on your sit bones. Not rocking back too far, gotta stay tall and buoyant. Boat pose, Navasana. Your arms and lower legs are parallel to the ground and sky. Right, your heart's your personal flotation device. Keep it up. One more long deep breath, please. And then your feet come together. Sitting on the ground, two externally rotated legs. Butterflied legs. Our pose is called Baddha Konasana, seated bound angle. And binding means your feet are touching. There's a connection there. And when we have connection, there's energy in that space. So the energetic connection of your feet being placed together generates a stretch across your inner groins and thighs. So the foot pressure can be as light or as together as you need it to be to sit tall comfortably and to fold forward. When you lean in, you want to feel good in the low back, the mid back, and the upper back. Let's engage some very deep breaths as we sit in our bound angle pose. All right, if you leaned in, find that vertical line in your body, tall, centered, ground to sky. Now, coming back to left leg extended, the right leg is an angle in the moment, and then we're going to lift up that, right? Raise up the butterfly wing. Right arm hooks the right leg, and that connection, that energetic connection, allows you to situate your base and align your spine nice and tall. From here, we're going to take a little twist, and the twist moves through the rib cage and chest, and the rib cage and chest turn towards your inner right thigh. Finding that vertical line, ground the sky to align your spine with. Right, we're going to face forward again. Come back to right arm, hook right leg position. And now left hand. Left hand's free. Free left hand to mat and ground. We're going to generate upward action with the body as our feet and left hand press downward, right? Energy unites here. Downward press, upward lift, a right side of the body, long stretch as you balance on your left arm. And slowly lower your hips back to the mat, to your starting position, right? With the right arm hooked leg. Good work. Let's change sides. Release the right leg, extend forward. Left leg comes in for the hook. Sit up nice and tall. And from that tall vertical spine position, we'll revolve, taking our twist. When you're twisting, remember that imaginary vertical line to continue to align your spine with. And facing forward, right? Left arm hooks left leg, right hand's free, touching down to the ground. We generate that downward press through right hand, right arm, and feet to lift the body. Extending, we have a right arm balance. The left top side of the body is lengthening. Lowering hips to the ground again, coming back to our start position. Again, good job. So we warmed up a little bit of side planking. So let's play with that. So we just came from right arm balance. So you always have the option of support. That said, I'm going to do this sideways so you can see me, and then I'll go ahead and shift back onto my mat. But a side plank, balanced right arm, body extends, legs can stack. You can always come back, right? Reminiscent of what we just did. Having another go. So here we go. Right arm balance, side plank pose. And we'll sit back down on the ground. Just change sides. Left arm balance. Extend, taking leg position that meets your needs, right? There's lots of leg positions. We did this one. You can stack the legs, slightly stagger, get a little help. Options. Try the option that works best for you. One more breath in your side plank and come back down to the mat. Good work. Side plank's not one that we've unpacked yet. So again, good work. Back to our hands and knees. Exhaling cat pose. Inhaling cow pose. Take it slow for a few more rounds of breath. And downward facing dog. Feel free to shift your feet or your legs around subtly with control. Maybe that movement helps you get a better sense of balance in the pose, or maybe helps you gain a better stretch. One more long, deep breath. Knees to the ground, child's pose. So in this child's pose with your bottom low, rested above your heels, you might feel the stretch through the lower back into the mid back happening. Now, come to all fours position again, tabletop. We're going to play a little differently here. So instead of lowering the hips down and back, we're going to keep the hips high still. From here, right, tail still up, we come down to our elbows, and then maybe your heart lowers, your chin lowers, your arms extend forward into puppy pose. Now this variation, you're going to feel more deeply puppy pose in your mid back, upper back, and shoulders. So from side angle again, child's pose is here. Puppy is tail elevated, heart, chin on the floor. And slowly we shall peel ourselves up from either child's or puppy pose. Actually, I'm going to stay in this sideways position. Our next pose comes from all fours. You may all want to join me in this sideways, all fours position, because then you'll have enough mat to start to slide your knees outward from your hips. Your legs are bent, your hips and shins are sliding apart. We drop down to elbows, perhaps. We're frog pose in the moment. We're staying centered between these two externally rotated legs of ours. Balanced again on elbows, balanced through shoulders. The body position and gravity, they're helping to generate this stretch through our inner groins and thighs. Right? If you watch hockey, this is a stretch that the goalie does. Right? The goalie stretch. Frog pose. If you notice, I've dropped down from elbows, chest to floor, resting my arms evenly. That yielding really will deepen your pose, so honor your body. You don't have to be here, right? Elbows is great, or on your handprints. Find the space where you feel steady with ease. And now we'll slowly peel ourselves up out of our frog pose. Good work. Have a seat, please. Coming back to easy seated pose, Sukhasana. This is where we started tonight. Check in with your posture. Hopefully it's a little easier to sit up nice and tall. Now let's move side to side body flexing, right? When we did that side plank variation, I talked about the top side of the body lengthening. Let's find that experience here as we stretch laterally, as we flex laterally, as we lean side to side. So notice you're making this slow windshield wiper action. Side slide. Body extending as you lean to the side. But your bottom, your base is grounded as you lean. And that's where you gain a really great stretch. Tuning into the anchor point. All right, back to center. Let's draw the circles again, trunk circles. Perhaps our body responding better to this flow. More smooth, more open. And change direction. Back to center. Let's take a twist to the left, right? Notice my arms, right hand to my left thigh, left hand to the ground. My hands are kind of helping me find my alignment vertically. And yes, they spot me during the twist. Hands are really great helpers. And let's change direction. Twist, rotate to the right. Redefine your sense of vertical in this seated twisting position. And let's rotate back to the left, rotating around that vertical line that we've created for ourselves, that imaginary vertical line. Now let's twist, let's rotate to the right. Facing forward again, we'll switch positions, and I'm going to give you the option of the next pose to go to. We've already done it. Please choose either child's pose or the extended puppy pose. I'm going to take the puppy myself, but please choose the form that feels best for you. So we talked about how the puppy gets into your mid back, your upper back and shoulders. Our next poses are going to do the same, right? Directed into the upper mid back space. Alignment is key, and of course, balance and breathing are key. But we'll start from this, from child or puppy where we were. Right arm reaches across the room, and we balance on the right shoulder, placing the right side of the head, the right temple on the ground. Left arm extends forward. Thread the needle pose. Align your back side, right? Track your back. Lengthen spine, and we're rotating through the rib cage. Finding a really good balancing point on the outer right shoulder. All right, let's unwind or unthread that side and thread the other. So left arm reaches under the right across the room, laying ourselves down on the outer left shoulder, left side of the head. Right arm extends forward. We gain a sense of balance. Lengthen through the spine and rotate through the rib cage. Let's unwind and let's have another shot at it. It may have felt a little not organic at first. So let's try and make this a little more natural. Right arm reaches across the room, balance right shoulder. Center, lengthen spine along the mat. Heart and rib cage rotating upward as we balance on our right shoulder. Let the placement of your left arm help you balance, but also help you steer the pose into better alignment. Let's change sides. Unthread and rethread. Left arm under the right. And may we unwind, come back to all fours. Tabletop. Our right leg to right leg. We're going for a pigeon pose, a pigeon stretch. So once we set up our externally rotated right leg, left leg starts to slide back and our root sinks towards the ground. Our pubic bone sinks down, remaining well balanced through your handprints as your root sinks. And maybe you drop to the elbows. Honor your body. One more long, deep breath, please. And then we'll come back to handprints if you happen to drop down to the elbows. And unwind the legs back to all fours position. Give your hips a little sway, like typewriter hips, moving slowly side to side. And then we come back to center and we're going to have another pigeon opportunity. Left leg now moving to the front of the mat. Right leg slides back to encourage our pubic bone, our root to sink down towards the ground. Lengthening along the mat from toes to nose and sinking downward perhaps to elbows, maintaining your balance, neutral hips, engaging your 360-degree breathing. One more long, deep breath. And we'll come back to our handprints if we happen to drop down any lower. Now we can shift onto our left back pocket, our left thigh, and draw the right leg back forward. Butterfly pose. We started here. This was early on in our practice. Now we've got these two beautifully angled legs, feet coming together, establishing a nice tall posture vertically first. And then noticing if the body has the invitation to lean forward, keeping lower, mid, and upper back in line as we lean in. Just take a little bow inward, breathe deeply. See how this position affects your body. The stretches want to be favorable, positive, not strain. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn to you. Just lie back, right? Legs open. They're still wide. Heels are about as wide as the mat. Lie back. Relax your arms. Relax your shoulders. Right? Your heels are resting evenly heavy. Your hips, your back pockets resting evenly. And your elbows and the heads of your shoulders are heavily resting on the ground. Don't try to keep your arms too close to you. Allow them to expand away from you slightly so that you're broadening your body across the ground and into all of that space that you're laying out along and across the mat. You're drawing your breath into all of that space vividly. Fill your inhalations to the very top of that inhaling action. And exhale. Follow it to the bottom till you empty out all of the breath. And feel how those moments of pause, the sip at the, the sipping to the top of the inhale, there's a pause. And then you begin the exhale and you dump it out. And the breath begins again. It's a beautiful cycle. Fulfill each action of the breath. Now the vertical line that your spine was aligning with when you were seated, now that line is horizontal, lying along the ground. Let your spine use the ground to find that better alignment, to find a sense of balance, right and left, to find a sense of balance, of stretch through your lower, through your mid, and through your upper back. All of those places now take in breath, right? They're being oxygenated. Allow your body to relax and breathe deeply and completely. That's why we call this final relaxation. Now is the time to unleash your imagination. The power of our minds is virtually unlimited and largely untapped. With imagination, we can create new worlds and improve old ones. We can live our wildest dreams and dream our wildest lives. The fairest souls are those that have the most variety and adaptability. May you start to move your fingers, your toes, generate some movements that bring you back to our seated position, to Sukhasana, where we began. Thank you for taking this journey with me tonight. I enjoyed our candlelight yoga practice, our Mother's Day candlelight yoga practice. Thanks for being here. Peace and namaste, y'all.